Okay, so welcome. Thank you guys for joining us talking about psychological safety. This is a subject that I am extremely passionate about. I have seen psychological safety created in a workplace environment, do amazing things and bring teams up to doing things that they never dreamed that they could be, that they never dreamed that they could produce. So psychological safety, not only does it make our day better, does it make our lives better if we are actually encompassing that into our everyday work life, it also produces more. And that's what I'm here to try to show today. My name is Rachel Schumacher. I work here at Clearly Agile, focus on agile transformations, working with large corporations that are kind of moving into the agile space and maybe a little bit resistant to it, as change is difficult for everybody and everything, especially when you get really big machines, really big companies. So I focus just on delivering transformations, bringing agile into the real world. Now, psychological safety, you hear this, you've heard it probably often for a while. The psychological safety, it's a big buzzword, right? We're all talking about it. We're all excited about it. What is it? Is it something that actually produces value, though? I mean, there's a lot of buzzwords out there. There's a lot of words that people use to make something sound so great. Psychological safety, I can say without a doubt, without a doubt at all, psychological safety is one of the key metrics that you can do, that you can bring into your team to help increase your productivity. It is a key factor. I have worked with teams that started off, they were unheard, they were looked down upon, they were treated with disrespect. And once we brought in psychological safety into that environment, they became top of the line, producing so much. They started coming up with new ideas, new innovations, new ways of doing things. Psychological safety is paramount, and there is a lot of data out there. There are a lot of thought leaders out there to help bring this and help prove this. I have a bunch on here that we're going to talk about today, but it is just the tip of the iceberg. There is so much information out there. I encourage you, reach out, look around, find a leader, find a thought leader, look into it deeper, because we can only cover a couple things here in this webinar. I want to start with the brain and the way we think and the way we work, brain science. Now, the amygdala is a part of the area of the brain that does ignites the fight or flight response, that cocktail of emotions that you feel. It is a survival. It is here to help us survive. That's what it's for. Imagine you're out in the woods, you are out fighting a bear. It is what will tell you, do I run or hide, or do I fight? What do I have to do? It floods your body with adrenaline. It floods you with so much, in fact, so much emotion, so much adrenaline, that it limits all the other synapses and neurons. So you're just getting a cocktail of raw emotion, raw fighting, raw running, and you're not able to think clearly or think outside the box or think innovatively. Your brain actually shuts down the higher functions. Your brain cannot think creatively. Your brain cannot bring in new innovation. Now, why are we talking about the woods and fighting bears? Because it's the same thing with your work. Right now, in our current working environment, in our current lives, we're not many of us, at least, are out in the woods fighting bears right now. But we are fighting for our survival. We're fighting for the survival of our families. We're fighting for our house, our home. We're fighting to keep roofs over our head and beat that corporate grind. We are fighting to stay alive in our own ways. And so the same amygdala that helps you fight bears and helps you survive in the wild, that same amygdala is actually triggered in a workplace environment. It stores also negative emotions, kind of like PTSD. So imagine you had a boss from the past, and most of us have had some sort of an experience with a horrible boss. Get a group together, and I haven't met one group that doesn't have a horrible boss story. I have my own. Horrible, terrible boss. She was demeaning. She would always trying to make herself look better at the expense of you. She made me feel this big all the time, very command and control, would try to embarrass you, actively try to embarrass you in public, with your groups and with your teams. It was a terrible, terrible experience. Very, very micromanaging. Now, today, just today, if I work with somebody, this is years and years later, if I work with somebody that has the same look and feel, has the same tone, even talks to me in a certain way, I immediately start shutting down. I immediately start shutting down. And that's because my amygdala actually, they stores, like PTSD, actually stores a memory. And this is for a good reason if you're out in the wild. If you smell a bear, you want to automate, even though you haven't seen the bear, even though you haven't touched the bear's not actively charging you. You want to be able to have that cocktail, that adrenaline cocktail set out to you right away. So it has to prepare if we're out in the wild, but here we are in the corporate world. And so how do we bring these concerns and these worries? How do we keep our teams from experiencing that negative emotional cocktail, that adrenaline rush that will stop all the innovation that they could have? How do we do that? And why is it so important? I'm going to go through a bunch of thought leaders, and then we'll hopefully come up with some really neat ideas. There are many, many ways to go about it to bring psychological safety in. But first, let's talk about why it's so important. So we have brain science. We have literally, if you're scared of public speaking, your amygdala will start shedding out that cocktail, right? And then you get people up there stuttering, people who are very eloquent on a one-to-one conversation. You put them in front of a group of people and they immediately start stumbling around. It's a very normal thing, and we all experience it, and your teams all experience it as well. Now, you may or may not be familiar with Maslow and Maslow's hierarchy of needs. He was a psychologist from over 100 years ago. He created this chart that shows what your basic needs, your psychological needs, and then your self-fulfillment needs. This Maslow designed this literally almost 100 years ago. So what he is saying in this is that if your basic needs are not covered, the bottom of the pyramid here, if your, physiological needs, your food, water, warmth, rest, and your security needs, you're secure, you're not going to get, you're not in physical danger, you're safe. If those needs are not met, you do not have the power to be able to even care about intimate relationships and friends, or how to be accomplished in the world. You don't even care, because all you can focus on is food, water, warmth, rest. All you can focus on is being secure. All you can focus on is being safe. We have to survive. Once we feel safe, once we feel secure, then we're able to think deeper. Hey, I want some intimacy and some friends. I need some companionship. And we need that companionship, the prestige, to even be able to start caring about being accomplished. We can't even care about that until we have our intimate relationships and our friends. And then at the top of the pyramid, you'll see that self-fulfillment. That's achieving your potential. It's thinking on a very high plane, very, very, very feng shui, very peaceful. We're Buddhists. We are able to think deeper, the meaning of life, the reasons why, how to make something better in a perfect world. We're able to think like that once all the other needs are covered. That is essentially the core of Maslow's hierarchy. He did, in 1970, he did elaborate on it. He's saying that it is possible to potentially go up and down on it. So if you are, you're in the physiological space here and you lose a good friend, you might move down down a level and move back up. So it's not necessarily a one-to-one. You just climb up the ladder and you keep going. But as real life hits us, We slide back down and we have to come back up as time goes on. So that's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now we have Tuckman's stages. Tuckman, Tuckman created this as a team formation and how teams get together. When a team first meets, when they are first coming together, we have a new initiative or a new project, and we're all meeting each other. We're very, very kind. We're very nice. Everybody's putting their best foot forward. We're all just saying hi. We're polite, and that's the forming stage. The storming stage. So we're all kind of vying for position. We're all trying to figure out where we are in the where we're going to fit, who's going to do what, how is it going to actually lay out. And this can be a little bit of conflict, and that's okay. Conflict can be good if you manage it correctly. Conflict is great because it brings up questions and problems and things that we can do to get better, things that we can solve so that we can get better. Once the team kind of reaches a pinnacle in their storming, then we move into norming. Norming is where things start settling down. We kind of know where each other is at. I know that Ashley doesn't like 9 o'clock in the morning calls, so I start doing 10 o'clock calls with Ashley, or we start just figuring out where each other's strengths and weaknesses are. We kind of start covering for each other a little bit. Ashley's starting to feel less nervous that if I cover for her on something, I don't have any ulterior motives or bad intentions. I'm just here to help out the team. And that's when once you solidify the norming, the performing stage starts coming in. And when you see a team that feels so secure with each other, they feel so open to talk, debate, cover. We are friends. We are working on a common goal. We are working this out together. I know that everybody has good intentions. They know I have good intentions. If I have a bad day, I know Ashley will step up and cover for me, vice versa. We got it. You start really having good, deep conversations about how to improve our process, how to improve our product, how to make things better, faster. That's where we start going flying. Product starts flying off the shelf. It's amazing when you actually see a team get into that performing stage. It's not common. You don't see it every day. You don't see it with most teams. But when you do, because they're psychologically safe to disagree, they're psychologically safe to say, hey, I have a different idea. They are psychologically safe to work it out together, to be innovative, to speak up instead of being too nervous to bring up their idea. That is when we start seeing things just fly off the shelf. He did later add in this adjourning phase. It's adjourning or mourning. And that is if the team is breaking apart for, maybe a corporate decision to break the team apart. Maybe they're in project sending and we need, they need to go, bring some people here or there. And that's a real emotional stage. We've got people who've been working together. They've had a common goal. They've had a common initiative and they're excited. And that work family, and all of a sudden the work family is gone. So it's a mourning stage. It's a stage where you're mourning the loss of good relationships. You're not going to see each other every day. You're not going to work together every day. Now, quickly look at this graph here and see how this line, as time goes on, the performance just starts skyrocketing. That is when it's amazing. It takes time. And you're going to possibly go between storming and norming with your teams many, many times. You might be at norming and then new initiative comes down the way and we slide back down into storming, and that's perfectly okay. That's perfectly fine. As long as the general flow of the line is moving into that awesome performing stage, but you have to have psychological safety to get there. Now take a look at these two together. So we have Maslow's hierarchy of needs here at the top, and we have Tuckman's stages underneath it. So you see the similarities, trying to draw a parallel between one of the best known psychologists of our generation, one of the best known, Maslow's hierarchy, Maslow, into Tuckman's ladder, and see how this individual line, having the food, security, relationships, accomplishments, and potential to be able to get to your full potential. How that is so similar to the team line. We're getting together. We're just getting the basics. We're storming. we don't have our food or water safety security all the way yet. We're working that out. Then we start caring about norming relationships. We start kind of working together smoother. We start getting to know each other better. You see the similarities between these two graphs and these two great thought leaders that we have. But let's bring this into something that we can all really relate to from a professional level. In 2012, Google, on all of Google's capabilities and all of their data and all of their energy, they kicked off a 2-year program. This was a huge initiative for Google. And what they were looking for is to understand why some teams succeeded and some did not. They studied 180 teams, the dynamics on 180 teams. They looked at everything that they could think of. So skill levels, friendships, personal friendships, strong management. Was it the team structure? Was it the hobbies that they liked? Was it the tenure, the longevity of their role? Was it their educational levels? Did they go to Harvard or Yale, or did they go to their local community colleges? They did notice a couple of really interesting factors. One is that the greatest teams, the team members all spoke roughly about the same proportion. There wasn't one person leading the conversation always. It was more of a group discussion about how to move forward. So they kind of shared equally in new idea making, in solutioning, or in problem solving. They kind of equally got together, respecting each other's opinions. Group norms were also found to be a contributing factor. So group norms, the rules of guiding the behavior of the team. Sort of a working agreement. If they have an agreement of how we're going to interact and how we are going to work together, then we're going to be able to work together better, smoother, faster. Great teams learn from failures. Great teams were okay with failures. Great teams weren't punished for failures. Great teams actually took failures as experiments and became better teams. So instead of criticizing that failure, they used the failure to get better. Great teams take chances. Great teams are psychologically safe to take chances. The results of their study was psychological safety was a #1 factor. If I make a mistake on the team, it's not held against me. If I make a mistake on the team, my job is not potentially forfeit. I can still have my house and my home. I'm still going to be able to provide my base needs from my Maslow's hierarchy. That will still be there. So the team members become comfortable in taking risks and in speaking their minds. Everyone on the team must feel like they are not going to be blamed if something doesn't go right, if they make a suggestion and it doesn't work. They need to be able to recognize that their work family will support their actions, will support their experiment, and will not embarrass them or berate them. Dependability. So when my teammates say that we're going to do something, we're going to follow through, we're going to do it. Everybody needed to provide their best efforts and energies to create that high quality work and that goal. So in this, they determine what the time parameters are. They can count on each other essentially to do their job. That was a key factor in the successful teams. And we move into structure and clarity. So we have an effective decision-making process. We have clear direction, goals. We understand what part we play, what is expected from them. How does psychological safety fall into there? Well, if I do not know what I am supposed to do, and it's so ambiguous, and I don't know what that ultimate goal is, I very likely am going to flounder around, flip-flop, like a fish out of water, trying to figure out what the best thing to do is. I'm not even able to find a direction point. And if I am feeling like that, then I am not going to be able to have, the best thoughts, obviously. I'm going to be just trying to struggle and flip-flopping out of the water. But I'm also not going to be able to have that psychological safety, knowing that I am being amazing and I am doing something great. Everybody wants to be able to reach their best potential. We all want to be great at what we do. And so having that meaning for the meaning of work and having that structure and clarity, very, very key, important to be able to have that psychological safety. And the impact of work. My work matters. I'm not just clowning around doing something that has no meaning. That is a huge factor in just feeling like you're important. So the exact same year that Google started their research, Patrick Lencioni is quoted in his research. We'll talk about him in just a second. But in 5 dysfunctions of a team, he says, not finance, it's not strategy, it's not technology. It is a teamwork that remains the ultimate competitive advantage because it's both so powerful and so rare. So we have to be able to build a team, a true team. It's supporting each other and working with each other and having that common goal and that common psychological safety with each other to be amazingly right or experiment and be wrong and have that thinking and that feeling like a true family. We've got each other. Now, oops, backwards. So moving to Tony Robbins quickly. Now, everybody knows Tony Robbins. He's an amazing, the great modern psychologist, fills out stadiums, truly amazing guy, right? He says that there are 6 basic needs of human nature. That's certainty, uncertainty, variance, and I'll explain what that distinction is here in a second. Significance, connection or love, growth, and contribution. So certainty, if certainty is one of your top basic human needs, and everybody is going to have 1 or 2 of these as their primary. So if certainty is one of your top basic human needs, you need to feel safe and secure about the future. For example, if you receive positive recognition, it may be accompanied by the need for certainty that the recognition is authentic, it is true, it is real, and it will continue. In order to live a life filled with certainty, your life has to stay the same. It's got to have a nice, even flow. It's a nearly impossible expectation to fill because life is full of changes, and you'll try to control your environment to provide you with an assurance that your actions will, to avoid pain or to gain pleasure, that you will be filling that basic human need that you have for certainty. So whatever you do, you're going to try to control your environment in any way you can to keep that even flow, that constant pace, have as little change as possible. Now, there are people who thrive off of the exact opposite. So if they need variety, they need uncertainty. This is one of their top basic human needs. And that would be, they need always have a new challenge, a new job, or a new relationship, or take unnecessary risks to achieve that adrenaline rush that they crave. They are always striving for that change. Essentially, they're striving for that jolt. If uncertainty is one of your 6 basic human needs, then you're going to be willing to take risks, willing to do new things, new situations, new people, if that is one of your top basic needs. Significance, it's another one. If significance is one of your top basic needs, then you need to receive recognition. You need to feel and receive recognition. It needs to be authentic. So this could be a desire to be seen, heard, or listened to. You want to be noticed. In short, you want people to, you don't want to blend into a wall. You want people to, walk up to you and say, wow, that was really amazing what you did today. That you were, had a unique perspective. And I really gained a lot of information from that, or really thought a lot about what you said. Recognition might provide you with a sense of validation. Then it makes you feel as if your driving force behind your behavior, because you can analyze and track your significance in the world. You are judging yourself based upon how other people judge you. So you feel significant because other people say you are. Connection and love. So if connection and love is your top basic human needs, you're constantly seeking a close relationship with someone. You're constantly trying to get that deep interconnection with people, really get to that core of who they are, have them understand your core as well. It can be, lead to really fulfilling relationships, but it can also cause you maybe to sacrifice your self-care. So if that is one of your top human needs, make sure that you're putting your self-care at the top as well. And then growth. So the folks who need growth as one of their top needs, these guys might always, they're always striving to be better, to learn more, to grow, to be better, faster. They're really good at their jobs, but they tend to move quickly. As soon as they've reached their full potential, or that ceiling, that glass ceiling, they look for a new ceiling to find, to beat. So their constant striving for growth ensures that they'll never be bored. They tend to always be perfectionists, generally speaking. Hard for them to relax. And then we have contribution, and that's secret to life is giving. They care about, helping, making sure that they are givers. They feel like they are significant. They feel like they are providing value as long as they're giving. If you have a need to contribute, you have that as one of your basic needs. You're probably going to make a really big difference in your community. Just watch out for losing sight of the fact, keep home first. Got to keep that home base strong, he says. Keep that, ensure that you're not neglecting those that are closest to you, so that you can save the world. Now, these needs that we all have in different levels, or different, you might have a cocktail of them. You might have, two at 40% and one at 20%. If these translate over to your teams and psychological safety, and this is how your teams, each and every single one of the people that you interact with, all have one or two of these, or maybe three. They all have a driving force behind them, and everybody is going to be different. So if you have a team of 10 people, you are going to get a lot of different personalities. And as we are building a community, a group, a team that has psychological safety, we want to keep in mind that not everybody works the same way. Not everybody has the same basic human need. I have one more major thought leader to share with you today, and we're going to try to bring it all together. So Dr. Clark, he's a current day, amazing work that he does. He created something called 4 stages of psychological safety. And that is the first one, that people need to feel included and accepted. Once they feel included and accepted, once they feel like they are not an outsider, they are part of the group, they are part of the team, that's when they feel safe to learn, which means asking questions, which means being vulnerable, which means maybe leaning in and saying, hey, I don't really get this. Can you talk to me about it? If you do not feel included, or you do not feel accepted, you feel like you are being threatened in a way, because we are talking about work. So if you are not included and accepted, you might mentally just move right into, oh my God, do I even have a job? If they don't like me and I'm not part of the team, do I even have a job in a week? You're not going to be able to say, hey, I don't understand this. So you have to feel included and accepted to be able to feel safe to learn. And next is safe to contribute, to be a contributing factor to the team, to put out an idea, an innovation, a thought, to be able to put out something that we can try out, we can be better at. If you do not feel safe to learn and you haven't been able to learn the environment, then how are you going to be able to contribute? So you have to have step 1 and step 2 to be able to get to step 3. And then we have safe to challenge the status quo. We are going to have a good, heavy, healthy debate because we've gotten to know that we are okay and we are in a psychologically safe working environment. So you can see how all of these thought leaders and all of these ideas come together into sort of a cocktail of the exact same thing, different points of view from different leaders, from different psychiatrists, from different working experiments, but they're all essentially saying the same thing. So for Google, you have to have impact, meaning, dependency, structure, and psychological safety. Tony Robbins, significance, contribution, growth, uncertainty, certainty, and variety. And then the 5 stages, the 5 dysfunctions of a team, Patrick, conflict. We have to be able to have conflict, inattention to results, accountability, commitment, and trust. If we do not have those, we are going to be dysfunctional. Acceptance for Dr. Clark, acceptance, safe to learn, contribute, and challenge the status quo. You guys can see how right here, just in one single slide, one single screen, we have so many of the greatest thought leaders, some great psychiatrists that are backing up our brain science. We're backing up how in Tuckman's ladder, we need to have, this norming, and we need to have the psychological safety to be able to perform, to be able to be amazing. We have to have these core things in place. If we do not have them, we're going to struggle. You're going to have folks who are going to be disengaged. You're going to have folks who are more out the door than in. You're not going to have folks who are able to say, hey, I know we've done it this way for 20 years, but does that really make sense in with our modern tools? Can we do it better? You're going to end up becoming the past. You're going to end up not innovating. Your teams are going to slow down. Your teams are going to not produce the quality and even the quantity that where we're really trying to get to. And everybody will be miserable. We have to have psychological safety in the workplace. And as leaders, it's our role to try to bring it in at everywhere we can. Recognize the importance. How can we do this now? This is not something that's easy. If you have a team that has been working in a group for a very long time, how do they actually bring it in? And that's going to be different for every single group that you work with. Every single environment, every single group is going to be different, but we do have to have a couple of base parameters. We don't blame. We foster innovation. We reward ideas, even if they don't work. And we have to talk to our teams regularly about how important it is. We don't allow people to blame, point fingers and say, hey, it's their fault. They didn't do it right. They didn't do it right. We have to foster this. It's not easy. And I have some ideas that we'll go over, but you'll have to find your own, whatever is going to work in your environment with you, in your organization, and with your teams. But some of the ideas that I have tried is just being vulnerable myself. What that means is I make a mistake and I admit it out loud in front of everybody. I might even do it on purpose. I might even purposefully make a mistake so that I can slightly embarrass myself, so that other people realize, oh my gosh, it's okay to make mistakes with this group. I've done it. And I've made real mistakes all on my own, very often on a regular basis as well. So it's not all my mistakes are planned, trust me. But it allows people to really feel like, hey, you know what? It's okay. Rachel made a mistake. So I made a mistake. Oh, yep, we can move on. That's okay. Foster ideation, critical thinking, creative thinking, foster it, reward it. Hey, you know what? That is an amazing idea. I really love it. Hey guys, what do you think? That's a new idea. Well, we came up with this. That is awesome. What do you guys think? Do you want to give it a shot? Let's start experimenting. Use that experiment word. Hey, if it doesn't work, that's all right. It's an experiment. I would rather get 10 horrible ideas because one might be amazing. And you know what? That's okay. And that's what I'll tell my teams. Hey, throw out any idea you have. I don't care how far right it is. I don't care how far left. I don't care if it hits the wall, the ceiling, or goes to the moon. I want to hear all ideas. Let's talk about them. And if it's totally on the moon level, we might not do it, but I kind of want to hear it anyway. I've actually created agreements with teams where we would expand the thinking to the point we got ridiculous. And that's what we would do. Hey guys, let's start here. This is our core. This is what we think. But let's also keep putting ideas out, way out, until we literally reach that, we are doing something literally ridiculous. Just to get the ideas out and let them know that they are safe to give ideas. Being anonymous, sometimes, especially with a new team or a new group that's newly formed, being anonymous is awesome way to just start the flow, start getting the juices talking. Having a whiteboard or something that people can come in, they can collaborate together, and they can do it in an anonymous fashion. So they don't feel like they've been put on the spotlight and have to interrupt the group or say it out loud and kind of a different flow of what other folks are saying. They can say it the way they, and maybe they put it in the small bottom right-hand corner, but everybody loves that idea, and have a conversation about it. Hey, we're doing this. We're creating this anonymous board because I want everybody to feel safe to give me their ideas. Everybody has great ideas here. Let's get them out on this paper. Let's get them out in front of everybody. Working agreements, great way. Just to keep that level, that level set, like Google study, Project Aristotle. Working agreements helps manage the expectations, ensures that we're all know what the norms and how we should interact with each other. Create shared experiments. That's hey, call it an experiment. We are going to experiment. We are expecting this not to work. We have a hypothesis. We may need to try 20 different hypotheses until we find our common area. Will we find the solution that works? But we will get there. And we're just going to keep trying. And see, it's okay if they don't work. Thomas Edison said once, I have to quote this right. I didn't fail. I found 10,000 ways that didn't work. It's very similar to that. I might not be quoting exactly, but I didn't fail. I found 10,000 ways that didn't work. I learned. And create that environment with your teams that it is okay. And we need this to be okay. Their amygdalas are running off the board too. Their fight or flight is running off the board too. They are human just like us. They have to have like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. They have to have their base needs met before they are able to move to those higher levels of relationship and becoming, recognized in their field, and then even higher. They have to have their base needs met. Like Dr. Clark and Dr. Clark's 4 stages of psychological safety. They have to feel accepted. They have to feel safe to learn, or they're not going to be able to contribute, and they're not going to be able to challenge the status quo. So just as you're human, and we can all relate to this because we've all been there at some point in our lives and our careers, we've all been in that place where we don't feel psychologically safe. and you can remember, you bring yourself back there, you were very likely not able to be your best self, not able to do what you can do. So as leaders, psychological safety should be your primary focus when you're working with your teams. If nothing else gets done, creating a team that is able to be psychologically safe so that they can go on that Tuckman ladder and start blowing up the performance, because they are able to innovate and they are able to produce and they are able to rely on each other. Now I have, I wanted to show escape. All right, sorry guys, little technical problems there. We'll put in some links if possible. We'll put in some links, but take a look at some of these books. Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within, and Patrick's book, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, Timothy Clark's The 4 Stages of Psychological Safety. Really, really awesome books. Also, look into Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs, read deeper into it, Supporting Your Team at Every Stage. Project Aristotle. Harvard Business Review put out a really, really great article called High Performing Teams Need Psychological Safety, and here's how to create it. But follow up on your own. There is so much out there that supports this. It supports the importance of this and how we can build this, and tips and tricks, and why it matters, not just to you, but why it matters to your team. And why does it matter to your organization? Why does it matter to your leadership? It will be, the return on investment will be higher for them. They give them the argument of why you need to focus on this, and this should be your primary focus. Your teams, explain to them on a regular basis, hey, psychological safety is our #1 goal. If we have that, then we are able to be awesome producers. So that's your conversations. Keep it front foremost. It matters as much to you or to them as it does to you. It matters to us all. It is not a buzzword. It is not something that we just, we can blow off and say, hey, that sounds really great, psychological safety, oh, whatever. It is paramount importance to really building great teams. It is everything to building truly productive teams that are not doing things as task doers, that are not doing things in a way that they're getting their job done and they're not putting any major mind into it. They're not going to change the world. They're not going to create great products if they don't have psychological safety. And on that note, I want to say thank you guys for joining. Appreciate your time. Hopefully you got something out of it. You can find me on LinkedIn, Rachel Schumacher.